Hello, everybody. It's 8:38 p.m. Central Time on the 7th of June, 2023. It's been almost 14 days since I've done an earthquake update. You are here on the Earthquake 3D live stream. Of course, I am Dutch Since. In case you didn't know who's here on the stream, and we're looking at the planet here with the USGS earthquakes, the European earthquakes turned on, and we're looking at the last 48 hours worth of earthquake activity. Now, I'm using my old microphone. People were telling me that my new microphone didn't sound loud. It didn't sound, you couldn't hear my voice. Now, I'm the same distance from the microphone. I'm using the same program, OBS, to record. I'm using the old mic, though, so it might pop and scratch. I don't know. I won't know until it's done. So if it pops and scratches through the whole update, I apologize. I won't know till I'm done and listen to the update. But this is live. This is live here on Twitch. I will record it and put it out over on YouTube if it sounds good. Let's get going on the earthquakes. Now, wait, actually, before I get going on the earthquakes, I guess we need to talk about it. The fire situation. And the fire situation is very serious. It's now newsworthy all over the news. It's even on Yahoo News. Look, live coverage of the East Coast smokeout. And we're not talking about smoking out. We're talking about forest fire smoke. And this is during the day in New York. I'm not going to step on any copyrights, just to let you know. It's made the news, the mainstream media. Now, I've been talking about the fires for about 2 weeks, and about a month and a half ago, we started proposing the possibility of plate-wide fires as the plate started to shift. And that gets into something that, again, if you don't know about the plate shifting and what results fire-wise along the edge of the North American craton, it would take a whole hour-long dissertation, a discussion, or whatever you want to get, a lecture from me to even talk about that. I'll just tell you that the edge of the plates going up in the northwest, down through Texas, and down through Arizona, down through Mexico, back up the East Coast, is the edge of the craton. Now, you'll see the smoke here over the Midwest. That's all smoke coming down in this somewhat open area. We have clouds and a rotating low-pressure system now over Quebec, hopefully going to put out some of the fires up in Quebec. But right now, we have new fires across Ontario, across Saskatchewan, also over to the west in Alberta and BC. Let's go up and take a quick look and just show you the amount of smoke and fire that's going now. This is all smoke up here. And before we even look at the smoke, we'll turn on the shortwave infrared, which will show us the fires throughout the day today as they blew up again in multiple locations. The black dots here and here and here. Okay, now I'm going to turn on true color and we'll see the smoke associated with these. We'll go back to yesterday, actually, and just make sure we've got it. Here's last night. Watch this. Down here at the U.S. border, we have Vancouver Island, we have Washington State down here, and South BC. Look at that. Big blow up of fire right next to Mount Garibaldi volcano. That's there at South BC. Over here to the west, there's no volcano there. It's just straight up a fire out there on Vancouver Island. That's last night, as well as you can see the fires here from yesterday. Huge up to the north. And I'm going to show you what's at the spots up in Canada. Here's sunrise this morning. Here's throughout the day today. And look at all the new fires that popped off on a clear day. New fires. Upwind from where fire locations are. So you can't say it's blowing embers. Again, it's getting weird. Okay, we've been talking about this now for like 2.5, 3 weeks. When you see what's at this location, these locations, down here in Alberta, up here in Alberta, over here in BC, at least all of these locations are either directly next to oil wells or within a mile or two of them. And I'm talking tens of thousands of wells. These are not forestry clear-cut sites. These are for oil and gas. You see the pipelines and the retention pond to collect water. They'll take that water, mix it with chemicals, put it down into the ground. There's pipeline. Oil and gas is what we're talking here. And And all these little pads that are out here in the back country are different oil and gas wells. And there's tens of thousands of them, so that I'm just showing you these right here. You start to get down into we're at hundreds already by the time we're looking through here. And then we go into, again, kind of what I would call an overdrive type situation, where there's just, thousands and thousands of wells. This is here in BC. Let me go ahead and show you the borders. Again, our fires are up here, going over to the east, over into Alberta this way. And over in Alberta, you kind of have the same thing going on. It's a little bit more widespread, but you can zoom in and find them. They're pretty easy to identify from high above. Now, the imagery on some of these might be a little low resolution, but you should still be able to make out the pipelines. Here, you can even see the shadow of the jack of the bump there. Okay, anyway, we're talking Alberta, we're talking BC. Here. Again, it's just massive. They just go on. The oil pumping goes on and on and on. These are all oil wells. This is South BC, or Central BC. And then as we go down to the south, we get into the mountains. I don't know what the oil well situation's like up in the mountains. Haven't taken the time to look, but I wouldn't rule out that there's maybe a few. Well, hold on. What do we got going on right there? Yeah, literally, there is. There's one right there in the middle of the mountains right there. Just to give you an example, like, it's not just in the low-lying foothills. We're going up into the mountains themselves. Here, look at this. We got snow-capped peaks covered. And look at that. You got the shadow of the jack of the pump of the pipeline up there at the peak. Okay. I just had to make sure, because when we start matching up with fires up in there, and we've got the plate shifting, and then this takes place today. Again, these are all fires. Here, going down into the mountains and down to the border. That's BC. Over to the east, Alberta, same thing, and Saskatchewan, same thing. Now we're going to go over to the east and look over into Quebec and Ontario. I know I have to take a lot of time to look at all these. So actually, let's get a regional view in here in Quebec. The big low pressure system over the area, dropping a lot of rain on the area, but you'll still see the black dots of the fires that are currently detected in Quebec. Here we are last night. You see that? That's what's in New York today. So this smoke from right there reached New York by today, and that's what's causing the apocalyptic views in the East Coast. See it? There it goes. There's this morning, and it's going real fast, being pulled counterclockwise down and over to the East Coast. But new fires are going on up here where my mouse is. You see them putting new smoke in there right at sunset, right there. New huge plumes of smoke being put in on top of the already smoke that's out there, that milky, hazy color. Now, we've got this down in St. Louis. I posted a video on my YouTube channel. It's a YouTube short right here. Here's my backyard of about 30 minutes ago. And across the lake even, just looking even across the lake, it's hazy. And when we look out to the end of the lake, down to where the dam is, look at that. That's from the haze and smog coming down here to St. Louis. So getting back to it, that's going down to the west-southwest, and we look at a continental view of the United States. Let me take it back throughout the day-to-day. Boom, there we go. This is the smoke. We have multiple waves of it. So Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, the South has the first wave. Second wave is over me now. That's the one I just showed you in the video. Third and fourth waves are across Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. And new push of smoke is coming in, and we don't see it yet, up to the north. That's coming from the northeast. Up in the northwest, to even see where it's going, you have to see that it's actually being taken up to the North Pole, and then being brought back down to the south. So watch this. It's taking the smoke from BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, pulling it up to the north, but then it comes back around. And that's what we got going on right now across, all blowing over to the east across. Now, Manitoba is the only spot that we don't have any fires going on, which is just wild. Let's go over and take one last look here. We're going to look at a regional view across South Ontario. And South Ontario has fires, which are blowing across the Great Lakes right now. See those right last night, and here's last night, by the way, and this morning. So the smoke coming over Michigan, Illinois, and that's all coming from a separate series of fires that's coming in now, and this is sunset, and it's just reached over into Michigan. So tomorrow morning, Chicago should have a new blast of haze and smoke as it comes rolling in. Now, what's causing it all? Enough talk on the phone. Oh, wait, no, we're not done yet. Let's go look in the southwest United States, because we have huge fires down here now broke out in New Mexico and Arizona. See that? Arizona, New Mexico. Multiple fires there as well have broken out, and that's just now becoming a pretty serious issue, I think. It's been over the past several days. We've seen it develop. The West Coast is going to be a little bit harder to see, but you can even see out in the valley. All of this is smoke in between the clouds. So that sheen, that whitish color sheen, has spread across the whole country. I mean, it's no doubt about it, but there's new fires that are, again, mixing in with it, coming from Arizona and New Mexico at least. But we're not done yet. We have to go down to Mexico itself. Going into Mexico, we're going to look throughout the day today and watch what happens down in Mexico. Watch this. Look down here. This is the Yucatan Peninsula. Here's Mexico, Mexico City somewhere right near. And then going up along the mountains of Mexico up to the north towards California. But what I'm interested in is all the smoke. Look at that. So literally it's coming out everywhere. Coming out down from Mexico. Let's go look at the Yucatan. It's no exaggeration. You can see the black dots. They're even out in the ocean. The black dots are the hotspot areas, the heated areas. I'll zoom in on a close view on this on the Yucatan so you can see it out there in the ocean. And these black spots are all fires along through here. And here we are throughout the day today. And watch here. Look. This is all of Mexico. Where's the smoke even coming from? Do you see any particular source of fire to generate that amount of smoke? I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm just showing it to you. You have to just take it for what it is. That's all smoke. You can see it. It starts rising from the mountains like this whole area right here. Do you see that? I don't know what the mileage is on that, but that's going to be like 100 miles, let's say. I'm just guessing. But we could try to go measure it. Let's just say that's 50 miles or 100 miles. An entire area 100 miles across, putting off just a burst of smoke with no actual fire there when looking at the shortwave infrared. But it's not coming from somewhere else. It's coming from there. And it goes all the way up along the coast. I don't know what to make of it all. It's like the whole plate is smoking. This is down in Mexico now. So down in Mexico, we got the whole plate smoking. Then it goes in a line of fires that goes up along the mountains, which you can kind of see in this shot, I think. You should be able to see the difference between the white clouds and the grayish-looking smoke here, right? It's a real sheeny type sheen on that, though. And then we go up to the north, where we get into New Mexico and Arizona, where there are the fires. And then I can't really see right now because of the amount of cloud coverage across these states here. Of course, that's Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Yellowstone. Going up over Wyoming, over Yellowstone. Let's take it back throughout the day. This is how we started out the day. And then you get this. So the deformed edge of the craton keeps having this happen every single day. And when I say the deformed edge of the craton, I am not exaggerating. Look at the purple part on here and compare it to the spots where we're getting these. A giant flare-off of steam and precipitation. So what's going on? Well, let's go look at the earthquakes. Finally, now I can go open up the earthquakes. Now that I showed you the fires going all the... Oh, and by the way, we go out of the United States and right up into all the fires up to the north. So Mexico, West Coast United States, at least the Southwest, and the Northwest, going all the way up across Canada, and going all the way over to the East Coast, including Nova Scotia and New Jersey from this past week, all on fire at once. I don't know. I don't know. I can point you to my videos going back almost now a month and a half. I don't know exactly which videos. Oh, the Mexico fire a month ago. So when the Mexico fire started at the volcanoes in Mexico, this is where I started talking about it. On 5/1, a month and a week ago, 5 weeks ago, I started talking about this. Then, large event. Look, large events do fires across the plate. This is me a month ago. Then we had the wobble event, where all the radars wobbled across the whole country electronically somehow. Then, big earthquakes hit. Then, fires at volcanoes, oil wells, blah, blah, blah. This is 2 weeks ago. Then we move forward. I start covering the fires more in Canada because it's getting really weird. Then 2 weeks ago, 13 days ago. And then here we are 5 days ago, and I'm covering the fires that broke out in Quebec. Now here we are, and now it's apocalyptic on the East Coast. They've canceled games, they're canceling flights, everybody started to notice, and the plate is shifting. That gets us into the quakes now. Sorry, I had to do all that prelude to get to the quakes, going across North America, which match the Craton, which go down to the south and up to the East Coast. And you gotta remember that we've had multiple 3.0 range quakes go all the way across the plate in the past several days. This is 6 days worth of quakes. You should be able to see it. We go across the plate from the West Coast with the biggest activity over to the East Coast. We go from 4.4 on the West Coast to 3.3 on the East Coast, or, well, the South Coast. And we have to talk about this because the lone earthquake, the rare lone quake down here, down in the Gulf of Mexico, doesn't get hit but maybe a few times a year. I think it's important for you to see what's at this earthquake epicenter. USGS, look how they just list it. 154 kilometers east of Venice, Louisiana. Okay. But there's something at the earthquake epicenter out in the Gulf that you need to see that plays into the fires. See the earthquake epicenter? And right next to it, I will read to you what is 26 miles west, or northwest, 20 miles away. The Deepwater Horizon well, the BP oil well, the BP oil spill well, the one where it blew up and spilled all the oil out of the salt domes here. Now, these are salt domes, and you'll see the salt domes actually go over all the way across. These are all salt domes. This is proof that plate tectonics is BS, by the way, and proof that the plate has always been here. These things take hundreds of millions of years to form. It hasn't moved much over the course of a few 100 million years. It's a big pile of them there. The plate hasn't moved but jack squat in that time, so that means plate tectonics is BS. The salt domes have always been there. They take a long time to form, and they're covered, partially covered by the plate. Not by the plate moving either. They're just there from a long time ago. Back when the oceans used to be way down here, where you can see the old shoreline. Anyway, zooming back in, we're 20 miles away from the Deepwater Horizon well. They don't have the wells out here marked for security purposes, but there may be a well right next to this. I can tell you this, 20 miles from the biggest blowout ever, you got to pay attention to that in light of the fires going on across the edge of the plate. Up here at New Jersey, up here at Nova Scotia, up here in Quebec, going back down and across the center of the Craton now, across Canada, and we can go with the fires and where they broke out here, and I don't know if you'll be able to tell, they're going in a trajectory along our bulges in the edges of the Craton where the drill points are. The earthquakes are going across there, and the fires. So let me turn off the magnitude so you can see a week's worth of earthquakes, so I can prove that to you. This is just from the USGS. You should be able to see it, though. The deformed purple Craton edge, or the edge of the purple part here. Okay, just remember where that is. Compare that to this. Goes down and across through Texas, back up and up into the East Coast. We have a few rare earthquakes, one out in the Gulf next to the oil wells, one down in South Texas next to the oil wells. Southwest Texas is all oil well earthquakes. Same with in the middle in Oklahoma and Kansas. going from up here at Wyoming, down through Colorado, down through Texas, back up through Oklahoma and Kansas. Every single one of these earthquakes from Wyoming to Kansas is at a drill point. Every single one. You can go look them up. If you don't believe me, I could pull the earthquakes on each one. It would take hours for us to go look them all up. You're welcome to go check. Again, West Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Southeast Texas, South Colorado, Northwest Colorado, or North Central Colorado going into Wyoming, all drill points. Once we get beyond there, we go over to the New Madrid seismic zone. But there is one lone earthquake up in Kentucky, southeast of our drill points in Illinois and Indiana. However, it's New Madrid seismic zone movement. But then we get a drill point out in the Gulf that gets hit. So what's over on the East Coast? Natural movement up the faults, going all the way up to the Northeast. Maine got hit. We got small earthquake activity across the board last week up in the Northeast. Now I have to point out something else happened. Mystery booms and rumbles. That's right. Mystery booms and rumbles showed up in the Northeast, up over D.C. They said it was fighter jets. Took off, scrambled to catch a Cessna that the pilot was incapacitated and crashed into the mountains of Virginia. The plane. All the people on board died, according to the story. But the story says that the sonic booms and rumbles, or the booms and rumbles you heard, were a sonic boom and rumble over the Northeast. They had to scramble the jets. That's the story. But I do recall telling you 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, or a month ago too, but 1 month ago, 2 weeks ago, and probably 5 days ago, that we would look out for news stories to appear in the news of booms and rumbles in the Northeast, and that they would blame them on jets. This is me last few weeks telling you to watch for that. And then all of a sudden a pilot gets incapacitated and there's booms and rumbles, right? I mean, I don't know what to tell you guys. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I just have to tell you I told you to watch for it. So you got mystery booms and rumbles, but it's blamed on jets, which I also told you to look out for, which is really freaky. Okay. Let's get back to it. Let's go over on the West Coast, take a look at what's going on in California. So, earthquake-wise, we were looking for large earthquakes to hit over the past 2 weeks, and I have not done a seismic update in 2 weeks because we have not had any large earthquakes since the last round of big ones. That's it. It stopped, right? You know, it's that time we take a vacation. Mother Earth, done for a little bit. Solar storm, who cares? All that shit, that doesn't matter. It stopped. I don't know. I don't know if it stopped. I'm wondering about the whole large earthquake stopping thing. Did it? Well, at the same time that the large earthquake stopped, something else started. The fires, the plate shifting, and now Kilauea's blown its top. Let's jump over to Doing Hawaii or Two Pineapples. Go check their live stream. And just to show you, you can rewind on their live stream to see the actual explosive blast as it happened at Kilauea. Look at this. Look at that. This is where it started. So Kilauea blew today in Hawaii, and it spread out. Look at it. Go look at this. Yeah, come over to Doing Hawaii's channel. Definitely come over and check it out, guys. They got this live. This is USGS Cam, all live. People in Hawaii are like, whoa. I got people leaving comments. Oh, this happens all the time in Hawaii. Yeah, no, yeah. It's just like the wildfires happens all the time, right, Jeeves? Whatever you say, Mr. Belvedere, I'm not here to argue with you. You're the know-it-all. I'm just the guy reporting everything. So let's go in and take a look. Take a look at this. It just went on and on and on. It's gone throughout the whole day. The whole freaking crater's been filled. And it's not stopping. Here we are current. So this is a live stream over on Doing Hawaii. Go check their channel. I support them big time. And now, so take that into account. Big eruption in the middle of the Pacific. Now, volcanically speaking, we've had some other significant activity, and that's over here at Popocatépetl in Mexico. Enough that it prompted warnings from professionals, all sorts of talk from people in Mexico, talk of evacuations, still ongoing. So that's pretty interesting, that we have them somewhat side by side. Then we have the whole United States, North America. So you've got Canada, U.S., Mexico, all burning at once. While two volcanoes on either side of it start going through the roof. The only thing missing now is something to happen up on the north side, up in like Alaska or something, volcanically speaking. Now, I have not checked the Volcanic Ash Advisory Center today, but I will check. Let's hit refresh on this, see if there's anything new. Abaco and Kuril Islands. Mayon, oh wow, look at that. Mount Mayon in Philippines is back. 11,000 foot high blast it's been. Many months since they've been on the list. Who else do we have on the list? Sakurajima seems to be picking up in South Japan, as well as Suwanee-Jima. Abaco and Kuril Islands again. Here's the Popocatépetl thing going on in Mexico. Sure looks like there's a... Oh, Krakatau is back on the list. Wow. Okay. All right, got to check, and we do need to point out where these are. So Mount Krakatau is all the way over here in Indonesia, right down here between Sumatra and Java. And I would say that's neatly centered right in the middle of this seismic mess that's right next to it. Got a 5.6 to 5.7 striking, or reported. Don't know how accurate all these earthquakes are, guys. Like I said, did the large earthquake stop? Did they? Or are we taking 6.6s down to 5.6s? Are we taking 7.6s down to 5.6s? I'm going to talk about Europe in a second because Disaster Compilations channel on YouTube uploaded a video of a 4.6 earthquake in Romania. But before we get to Europe, let's talk about the lack of large earthquakes in the West Pacific. So, my last forecast called for a significant amount of earthquake activity. Everything from Japan and Indonesia to Chile, Central America, West Coast United States, Alaska. 3 of the 5 previous earthquakes hit. Then I issued a warning for another one, which would put it up to 6 warnings. 3 of the 6 hit. So what is it, 50-50, right? We could flip a quarter and well, luckily for me, we don't judge earthquakes by the cumulative total of the amount of warnings that I issue. But 3 of the 6 areas got hit. So 3 of the large earthquakes we were looking for, including an 8.0 earthquake or something very close to it, hit. And then it went quiet. Now, the solar has not let up. However, the solar has not reached major blast level towards us, particle-wise. And when we look over across the West Pacific and we see a lack of large earthquakes reported, I wonder, is that natural? Okay? So we're going to keep watch. I'm not issuing any new forecast yet. I'm just telling you, we're at 5.6. We have a new blast at Krakatau. We go up across Japan, and we have Sakurajima volcano and Suwanee-Jima here, both erupting in South Japan, neatly sandwiched in between the sets of quakes in Japan. Mount Mayon in the Philippines, right here, also neatly centered in between our sets of quakes on all sides. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 volcanoes erupting across here, including in Mount Ibu and Luatolo, that's 5 and 6. As we go up to the north, we have Mount Abaco, which is back on the list, and that's 7 eruptions across the West Pacific in a day's time. Now, we've seen 20, or 21, actually. We've seen 21 eruptions from different volcanoes in 1 day's time in the West Pacific before. So to have 7 is, 1/3 of the most that I've ever seen. So it's not like it's a huge amount of eruptive activity currently, but still worth noting. And then over here on the east side, all of North America burning. Then Popocatépetl volcano erupting. Then Fuego and Santa Guido both erupting here in Guatemala. That's 1, 2, 3. Then we get down here and we have Nevado del Ruiz volcano. That's number 4 erupting. Then we have Reventador here in the middle at Ecuador. That's volcano number 5 erupting. We get down here to the south and we have Sabancaya, and that's volcano number 6. So we've got 6 erupting on one side. We've got 7 erupting on the other. I'd say that's somewhat equal, and that's normal to get the equal amount of eruptions on either side or very close to it. Remember, I told you we saw 21 in a day over here on the West Pacific? On that very same day, we saw like 18 or 19 over here on the East Pacific. It was like 40 total eruptions in a day, which is huge for above-ground volcanic ash advisory warning. So I'm not just talking about lava flows or, an undersea eruption. There are thousands of those that happen all over the place. But for actual ash advisories, to have 40 in a day or something, that was a lot. We're not there now, thank goodness. And we're not there now with the earthquakes either. But I wonder about the quakes. Are they underreporting? Are they not reporting? This is basically World War III going on right now, or the precursor to it. So you can expect the information seismically to be somewhat going through a few filters before it gets to us, or to me. Even private seismos might be a little off on reporting the quakes, wouldn't you think? So let's get to the west coast of the United States and just see what we're being shown. Not that this is an accurate representation of the actual seismic activity, but looking at 48 hours worth of earthquakes. We have a stack of earthquakes between Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake. Let's go take a look. Open up the quakes, see what's there. I'm going to put the coordinates in on Google Earth. It just says Nevada as the location. Well, I'm going to show you what's there. There's something here. We're going right down the middle of something, actually. There we go. We're going right down into the middle of what I think is, and most likely is, a giant ancient caldera. This, between Lake Tahoe and Pyramid Lake. And the giant ancient caldera is lined with its own volcanoes. And it gets hit with earthquakes around the outside edge, going into the middle. But look what's right down here at the middle of this place. The Sierra Army Ammo Depot. Right? You guys know about this place? Wait, hold on. Where is it? Make a liar out of me, right? There it is. The Sierra Army Ammo Depot with all its deep bunkers. That's on the north side. But this thing in the middle is a giant ancient caldera with two folded basins on either side. There's Steamboat Springs on the south side, geothermal field that humans have drilled in to get steam for all the turbines that are here. And then on the other side, and I show this over and over again because I found this place. I found this giant oval here. How did I find it? Earthquakes. Earthquakes going around the outside edge of it. And then fires started breaking around the outside edge of it. We have the geothermal fields on both sides of it. Here are the needles at Pyramid Lake on the north side. So you got Steamboat Springs on the south side. You got the needles on the north side. You got volcanoes all around it. You got earthquakes that go all around it, right into the middle of it. It's an ancient caldera. It's an ancient supervolcano. It's bigger than the marked known supervolcano here at Long Valley. Long Valley is another giant oval with two basins on either side of it, lined with volcanoes, hit with earthquakes around the outside of it, hit with fires around the outside of it. Like the fires that just started in the past several days, just to the west, up here. Fires out in California, in case you didn't know. Fires up in Washington State, next to the Hanford Nuclear Radiation Storage Facility again. I don't know if you guys caught that in my post yesterday. Hanford has a fire next to it, on top of all the fires up to the north. But I think they got it put out, which is why I didn't show it today. All right, so let's recap. Big stack of earthquakes there in the middle of an ancient supervolcano that got missed by the professionals. Speaking of supervolcanoes, what about Yellowstone? Well, we do have a little stack of quakes here. The biggest earthquake of the bunch at 2.2, striking in the park, and then the rest of the activity about the same. So I should say there's a slightly bigger quake. 2.3, striking over to the west in Idaho, and a line of earthquakes going across the edge of the Craton up to the northwest. Craton, Idaho, look. Craton, Idaho, look. Oh, wait, you can't see it through all them. Look at the line of quakes going along the edge of the Craton down through Idaho. It matches. What does this prove? This proves that earthquakes are following a path and trajectory. And you can follow it like a flowing river. Now that you know that, kind of takes the mystery out of earthquakes, or at least people thought they were random USGS even made a post this week saying earthquakes were random. Okay, so let's go over across Idaho. And what's in Idaho? Well, there's no drill points in Idaho, and there's no volcano there. The magma chamber for Yellowstone goes down below this portion of Chalice Reserve in Idaho, and it has a feeder for it from down below Oregon. The magma chamber for Yellowstone is 11 Grand Canyons in size and goes down 30 kilometers down below Idaho at an angle. Comes up to the park at the surface up in Wyoming. So these earthquakes are above the deepest part of the center of the magma chamber of Yellowstone. So the Yellowstone magma chamber is deflating, according to professionals, in the past couple of weeks. Or that it was deflating. I don't know if it still is, but... And they can tell by ground sensors from GPS. Going over to the west, the biggest earthquake of the bunch on the west coast northwest, Government Camp, Oregon. What a name. Well, if they just called it Mount Hood Volcano, do you think the people would care? Instead of calling it Government Camp, if the USGS listed it as 3.0 earthquake, Mount Hood Volcano, do you think people would pay attention to it more? On the USGS site, I mean. That's where the earthquake swarm and 3.0 earthquake is. And we haven't had a 3 or a swarm at Mount Hood in years. I'll say it. We should pay attention to it. It's a stratovolcano. It's a 3 and a swarm down below it. Don't ignore it. Don't deny it. And certainly don't omit it. Now let's go up to the north and see what this other little cluster of quakes is. Where is it? Well, it's 11 kilometers northeast of Ashford, Washington, but there's probably something else there that we need to see. If they're going to be hiding one, or not talking about one, maybe, oh wow, look at that. We're on the side of Mount Rainier. Another little outbreak, another little swarm. Well, what about up to the north? Well, this gets into my strike out for the West Coast. My warning expired 2 days ago for Seattle. We're looking for a near 5.0 range quake or greater to strike on the Seattle Fault in the Pacific Northwest. Well, when I issued that warning, I wasn't counting on fires to go across this area. Vancouver Island, right at the U.S. border, Washington State, all got fires in the past 2 days. Right through here, all the way around the spot where I issued the warning. Outbreak of fires. I guess, Mother Nature's, looking out for me, I guess. Let's go down to the south. Talk about the quakes down here. Oh, that's right. Already did. Stack of earthquakes inside of the supervolcano. What about the other big stack of earthquakes here going up off the screen? What's this place? It's called the Geysers of California. Big stack of earthquakes at the Geysers. Can you guess what's at Geysers, California? Geyserville, California? If you guessed geothermal features, you are correct. There's probably some other weird stuff up here too. It's California, but anyway, Northwest California by Humboldt. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, here we go. Pipelines, steam, and volcanic field. Clear Lake Volcanic Field, Mount Konocti. Konocti, whatever. Clear Lake Volcanic Field there. Geothermal hotspot, drilled in. Get steam. Big stack. So volcano, big stack. Volcano, big stack. Volcano, big stack. Volcano, big stack. Smaller stack, volcano, and onesie-twosies going around where the fires are. Now let's look at the earthquakes going along the coast. Down along through the Bay Area. Well, I'll be. We're in Napa Valley, and we're jumping across over to Mount Diablo. Mount Diablo. Well, what's Mount Diablo? Anybody know about Mount Diablo? Vallejo, California? Mount Diablo and Mount Diablo State Park right next to it. People told me this was not a volcano. Professionals weighed in on one of my videos. I made some video, and I'm like, hey guys, look, an earthquake swarm here right at Mount Diablo. Oh, look what I found. I found out that it's a ancient volcano, and they denied that it was a volcano. And then you come out and then I posted the books from the 1950s and 60s that identified the tuftage. And they came back with and said, the tuftage, well, that must have formed down when this was underwater. To call it a volcano is not doing it justice, or some shit like that. Okay. Now, I also am seeing something else here. A giant oil refinery. Massive. Huge. Look at the size of that oil refinery. Are you kidding me, man? That thing's huge. All right, nothing to see there. What's this? What's this place? What are they doing there? Some kind of shipyard. What is this? It is. It's some kind of shipyard. Is this where they're working on? Are these like cruise ships or something? All right, I want to find out now because we got an earthquake at a shipyard, right? What's this place? Nothing to go wrong there, right? All right, well, we got some kind of shipyard right there. We got the train tracks down below it or right above it. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of huge power generation facility to provide power to this area. Probably all right on top of each other, and I'm just missing the power. Where's the power plant, right? The reason I'm looking for a power plant, very low frequency. Very low frequency earthquakes. Oh, okay, well, we got our power lines right there. A huge set. Looks like it goes across over to here. Well, okay, I digress. Our power is probably coming from the refinery that's over here, wouldn't you think? Someplace. Probably have a power plant built into this place. Okay, I'm glad I took the time to look that one up. You're coming across from one spot to the other right next to Mount Diablo. Let's go over along the coast and go see what's going on over at San Francisco Zoo, California. Is this the downtown area or this is the actual zoo? You guys need to go watch my Dinner with Andre to understand the zoo quote. Wow. Well, you know, it's not at the zoo at all, is it? What a place to triangulate it from. What else do we have going on out here? Hashtag Tartario. They have some kind of star fort out here we're trying to hide. I wouldn't be surprised. With the golf courses, with this kind of shit built into the freaking thing, come on, man, you gotta have something weird going on there. Right? Where's the star fort, guys? Where's the star fort? I'll find another one later on. Let's go on down to the south. Jump over into the valley. We have a line of earthquakes that comes down the San Andreas and jumps over into the valley. Let's go see what's over at Los Banos. Los Banos. Banos. That's what my trolls eat for breakfast. Okay. What do we have going on here? Oh, wow. Okay, well, right next to a few things. Here's the San Andreas Fault. Over to the east, earthquake epicenter. Down to the south, oil pumping operations. And we have aquifer access in here with huge amounts of water that's being deposited in here right now. Now, water-weight earthquakes can show up next to water storage locations if you have weak points nearby. I wouldn't know whether it's the San Andreas, right here, the diagonal line, into the mountains, or the frack wells that are all around here. Oil and gas and frack wells. They're in. They're in. They're in. You can even see the shadows of the jacks of the pumps out here in the middle of the fields creating the pressure. Anyway, so when you get the drill points, I don't know if there's any up here directly. I haven't taken the time to look. I will take the time to scour the area and just see if there's any other oil wells. Where there's one, there's more. Certainly there are. Anyway, we're close enough. We're close enough that when we're jumping off the San Andreas, we're going over next to the drill points. Same for down to the south. We jump off the San Andreas. We go over to this place called Missouri Triangle. And let me show you what's there. So we just go due south of our area here, south by southeast. Right down to about here. And all down through here are tens of thousands of oil wells. No exaggeration on that. Every single one of these is a different drill point. And we go on down to the south. And then that gets into stuff I've talked about in previous videos I don't need to talk about now, which is the number of drill points across the southern part of the valley. So what do the volcanoes and the drill points, what do you think they have in common? How about weak points in the plate? Mother Nature punching up from down below. Humans drilling in from up above. Either way, there are tubes that are in the ground, basically, that are creating perforation points. And then this wave comes through the area. The wave, which I am talking about, is a very low frequency electrically induced wave, and it goes around the whole planet. Now let's go down to the south even more and go look in southern California. A 3.0 earthquake off the coast. So a 3 struck off the coast, a 0 kilometer depth. We'll just call it a surface earthquake out in the ocean. So on the seafloor. But what's going on? What's out there? Take a look. Here's our earthquake epicenter. What are these? Oh, those must be offshore wind farms or something, right? No. Oil and gas. Offshore platforms. We've got our oil and gas platforms out here. Whole bunch of them. Off the shores of California. And our earthquake right next to them. See where they are. Here, here, there. Okay, so that's where the other big of the bunch is. Going further to the south, we go around the LA Basin and we pick back up on the San Jacinto Fault in the San Andreas. Oh, and a little bit on the Elsinore too. First we have the San Andreas, then we have the San Jacinto, then we have the Elsinore. And the majority of the earthquakes are on the San Jacinto, next to or west of Salton Sea. None of those are at drill points. There are no drill points there. These are what I would consider to be natural fault zone earthquakes. And a lot of the earthquakes are following fault zones till they get to the drill points or the volcanoes. Once they get to a drill point or a volcano, they seek out that spot like a perforation in a piece of cardboard, and you're trying to bend. What about over to the east? Well, along the California-Nevada border, I already told you about the supervolcano at the California-Nevada border, the known one at Long Valley. That's where all these earthquakes are. I shouldn't need to look those up. But right across from Long Valley, there's something. Mariposa, California. A fire broke out next to this just a few days back, this past week. People tried to tell me it was a control burn, and I said, wow, it sure is going on for a long time. No response. Now, what would you do if I told you that this spot in particular, right here, see this thing? It's round. I've showed this so many times before. This is a bulging laccolith. A laccolith is a bulge in the plate that forms when magma intrudes, pushes the plate up, but never actually ruptures or breaks into a volcano. Now, we get a bunch of earthquakes around this thing, and a bunch of fires break out around this thing. Year after year after year after year. Finally, I noticed it. The round thing. The laccolith. And I noticed what was right next to it, across underneath the mountain range over on the other side. The known supervolcano. So we've got the known supervolcano with 1,000 cubic kilometers of melt down below it at Long Valley. And right on the other side of the mountain range, we have a similar in size laccolith. And fires that break out around it. And this just happened again. Fire just broke out right up here. Now we got earthquakes around the outside edge of this thing. That's the only way I even found it. And we go from there over to the supervolcano, and we go from the supervolcano over across the border, over into Nevada and South Nevada. So what's at the border and what's down at South Nevada? Let me show you. Yeah, look what it's listed as. Central California. Ha! Yeah, that's a good way to list it. Aren't there any towns? We don't want to triangulate it from anywhere. Look where we're next. If they triangulated it from anywhere, they'd have to triangulate it from Yuba Hibi craters. The giant Yuba Hibi craters. We're right next to them now. We've crept right down next to the craters. And these are volcanic craters, guys. These aren't from meteorite impacts or anything. All right, now you get the picture. So we're right next to Yuba Hibi craters. How many is that now? Big stack, look. Goes all the way around it, out to the old east side and to the west side of it. So over here to the east and over here to the west on both sides of it, around the Yuba Hibi craters and east of Big Pine Volcanic Field. Finally, down to the south we go. Let's go into the middle of this hot mess down in South Nevada and just show you what's there. Let me turn off all this other earthquake info. Jeez. Okay, here we go. We're going down to Indian Springs, Nevada. So I've showed you volcanoes and drill points, and they keep getting hit over and over again as this wave, this electrically induced very low frequency or ultra low frequency wave spreads out across the plate. Earthquakes are not random. They're being caused by this wave. So where are we? We're at Skull Mountain Volcanic Buttes, but here we are. Look at that. I'll be darned. Look, it's Doomtown. Doomtown, the nuclear test sites. If you don't know about Doomtown and the nuclear test sites, the Google Earth community has taken a fair amount of time to document all of the underground nuke tests and give a name and an actual kiloton detonation. 1988. Dang. Damn, I was like 12 years old. They're out there doing nukes. Anyway, the whole valley is done that way. They did surface test. And over here are all the newer ones in the 80s and 90s that we did with the Europeans. We let the French and the Brits come over here and do tests. Anyway, that's where the big stack of quakes is. All the man-made faults which are there are why the earthquakes are striking there. Of course, the wave is going through there. The wave is coming down through the supervolcano, going down to the nuke test sites, then making a hard break over to the east, following through our other volcanoes. These two 1.6s are directly at volcanoes, and these earthquakes here are directly at volcanoes in Utah. Let me prove that to you in case you are still in denial, doubt. My God, I don't even care if I'm, seriously, people that are in denial or doubt, screw you, dude. I know this is online and everything, but I'm done, proving myself to you. There's always some new person, and again, you're just going to have to get in line. So here's C. Miller Butte, and there's Dutchman's Draw. My island. It's my island. Oh, okay. It's a Braveheart referencing. Okay, never mind. Dutchman's Draw volcano, and my wife's maiden name, Miller. Dutchman's Draw and C. Miller. Weird, right? Right next to each other. Earthquake there. Over to the west, over across, back over into the Nevada side. We go right back over here. And I don't have the place marks on here, actually. It's right out here. For those of you who don't know about Gold Butte and the Bundy Ranch, I don't know what to tell you. Just saying. It's right next to it. Anyway, up to the east, northeast. Let's go up into Utah, and look, it's just marked as Utah. Wow, no towns on this one either. Is the USGS getting lazy? Or are they not wanting to identify nearby areas? Like, for instance, this Crater Knoll. Crater Knoll volcano on the edge of the Basalt Fissure, which is on the edge of this Mineral Mountains Cove Fort. That's a volcanic field, in case you didn't know. So what do all these sites have in common? Let's go back over them one more time. Volcanic field. Volcanic field. Volcanic field. Nuke site. Man-made faults. Volcanic field. Supervolcano. This one over here at Monte Cristo Hills Volcanic Buttes, I didn't even show it. Going back up to these are actually at a previous earthquake epicenter of a 6.0 earthquake, so you call those aftershocks if you want to call that. Across over into the valley, Laccolith, magma intrusion. Back across over the valley, next to the drill points, and next to the drill points. Up to the north, supervolcano. I didn't look this one up. Austin, Nevada. Nevada? Austin. What's there? Sorry, I'll get back close to the microphone. Sorry if I'm far away from the microphone. I'm sitting back because I'm getting a little casual as I'm looking things up. This is how you have to do it. You have to look up the quakes. You'll find out that there's something at the epicenter in many cases that explains why the quake struck there. Then you have to find out what force is causing the quakes. So let me just tell you something. When I see stuff like this, out here in the back country, it looks hundreds and hundreds of years old and ancient. Definitely not from current peoples in the past 50 years. Start finding weird stuff out there like that. That's just right on its own. It's something that you should pay attention to. Oh, Buffalo Valley. Who would have... A group of cinder cones and lava flows in Buffalo Valley north of the Oglosine Fish Creek Mountains Caldera Range in age from 3.05 to 0.92 million years ago. Yeah, right. I'll believe that date. That date will change. You guys notice how all the dates always change? What do we got right down here at the epicenter, though? What is that? The Turquoise Museum. Now, I don't know. That to me doesn't look like turquoise. I'm seeing pipeline. I'm seeing drill points. I'm seeing frack wells. I'm seeing natural gas. This is not a turquoise mine. Oh, wow. The Ormat McGinnis Hills geothermal plant. Well, I thought it was oil. I'm seeing pipelines. I'm seeing drill points. I'm seeing compression stations. Wow. Geothermal. So, hey, check it out. If I wouldn't have zoomed in, I wouldn't have even known. Real-time example of your teacher learning something. Here, real-time, and right here in front of your eyes. Let's put a place mark on it. So I don't ever have to guess again. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. Glad I looked it up. What about the one? Dang. Do I have to look every one of them up? Fallon Station, Nevada. All right, let's go see what's there. This is why I maintain viewership. You find shit. You start finding stuff, people love it. When I found that earthquake down below the Bundy Ranch, I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, oh, God, what's going on there? Now, what's this? Salt wells. What the hell are those? What are salt wells? Anybody even know what a salt well is? Is that like a salt dome? Are these old salt domes? What the heck is going on out here? Salt something. Salt wells. What's that? Oh! Hey! You mean salty geothermal wells? Geothermal plant. Oh my God, look at the size of this place. You know the amount of steam they're getting out of the ground here? You gotta be kidding me. So this is an old volcano, obviously. Unmarked. Oh, look at the lava flows. Of course, okay. Yeah. We got ancient lava flows. This was back when this was all underwater. You can see where this was all underwater at some point in the past, where the old ancient oceans receded away. And the old ancient inland ocean used to encompass all of Nevada and Utah, and the leftover remnants of it is the Great Salt Lake. The old ocean that drained out through the Grand Canyon. The old ocean made the Grand Canyon, not the Colorado River. If you were told that the Colorado River made the Grand Canyon, you were lied to by people who made up a story. The Grand Canyon was formed by the washing out of a giant ocean that went out, well, I guess, rapidly. Maybe a giant uplift event, whatever, ancient civilization. Tartaria? I don't know. I don't know what caused it. All I know is that Colorado River did not form the Grand Canyon. Let's go over to Asia. Let's jump over across the planet. Go out of the West Pacific where I struck out last week. Struck out in Japan and Indonesia. Again, the earthquakes we were looking for didn't hit. Or did they? Did they? I don't know. I'd say no. Now, we have a spread of 4s going across the Mideast, all the same size. 4.6, 4.2, 4.4. They're all within a hair of a point of each other. The spacing on these is what I want you to pay attention to. It's like a standing wave in a tank, where each point is a peak in a wave. And once we get over to Europe, we follow the plate boundary. We get over into South Europe, we have the same size quakes that went across, now have struck in the last day and a half across Turkey, Bulgaria, and Romania. And again, they're within a hair of a point of each other. 4.6, 4.6, and 4.7. And I'm showing you everything 4.0 and greater, or 3.5 and greater. So it goes obviously right up to the border. Here you go, right up at the border, and that's where we are. Spread of earthquakes going around the outside edge of Europe. And it's the same size that went across Asia. A wave went from here 2 days ago, marked in pink, to here today, marked in white. Or yesterday and today. So from there to there. Next stop, out here at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, Iceland and the Azores, and the North Pole. 3 spots should all move with mid-range 4-level activity. And now 5s are coming across. And that gets me into a new forecast that I'm going to have to issue in the next few days. But this is just an update, because it's been 2 weeks since I've done an earthquake update. And there's many reasons why. My God, if you knew what was going on. Most of it's not good. Whatever. Anyway, let's go over to Central America, South America, and talk about the same-sized earthquakes going across Central America and South America. For my people over here down in Haiti and Jamaica, you got hit. A 5 came in right here on the tip of Haiti, in between Haiti and Jamaica. And we were looking for something up to 5.9. So a new 5, well, they've got it at 4.9 and a 4.1. If you add them together, it equals 5. But anyway, I was looking for up to a 5.9. We got a 4.9. There's the quake we were looking for. And check it off the list. Now, that follows the movement last week down to the south. So, within a week, you moved on the north side. Now, we look over to the east. And we should get something like a 5.9, or up to, over to the east, in the Eastern Caribbean, east of Puerto Rico, over here, right next to, what is this? What are the names of, they've got volcanoes there, actually. Hold on. What is this? Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada. No, Grenada's too far south. Dominica, Guadalupe. Okay, you guys see it right through here. This is where we watch for the next upper 5 to take place. South America would stand a reason to watch. I struck out in Chile. Nothing. No earthquake, no eruption. So what happened? Again, I'm scratching my head myself, guys. I'm not really issuing a new forecast for Chile until I figure out where the energy went. We were looking for something like an upper 6 to low 7 to strike in Chile, and instead we got 5s. It was 5s across the board. That's what I'm so freaked out about. It's so odd. To go from gangbusters at 8.0 down to nothing? It's just odd. With the solar activity, that's even more odd. I don't know. There's all kinds of systems that could be at play. And when I say systems, I mean it. In case you didn't know about directed energy weapons. What they can do and what they can remove and what they can transfer, which is energy. Okay, anyway, let's get back to it. Let's go back to the start of this broadcast, which is the fires. It's now 9:43 p.m. Central Time here in the States. I'm going to go check and see what sunset looked like for the country here in the States. First of all, the particulate matter in the air is going to be doing this. Okay, we're going to be getting a lot of particulate matter in the air. But the breakout of the storms following the deformed edge of the craton is freaking me out just a little bit. And the fires, with this level, let's go back and look. Oh, wait, hold on. Just look throughout the afternoon into this afternoon. There we go, right at sunset. There we are at sunset. After sunset, oh, wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Looks like we got a fire in South Wisconsin. Hold on. Oh, God. I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. Don't panic yet. Well, whatever, don't panic, right? Like, don't panic! Don't panic! You scream into the microphone, don't panic. It never works, right? Ah, it's a body of water. Right there. That's a body of water. Bodies of water looking hot. What the heck? That is odd. That is odd. We don't normally see the lake show up as warm signatures, but maybe it's just cold up there right now. Dear God. Hope nothing's going on with that. Okay, now, black spots. The black spots are where the fires are. That's infrared at night. So you can see we got a lot of smoke coming in still from Quebec. And down in Ontario, there, at least 2 spots. Oh, more than that. Down here right along the Great Lakes. Going in to the south along through the Great Lakes. Let's get a better view on that. There they are. So this is all blowing across, and it looks like it's going to be coming down over Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio by tomorrow. East Coast, this is going to keep counterclockwise rotating and drawing the smoke over to the east for the next, I don't know, next couple days. Jeez, look at the size of the system out here off the coast, counterclockwise rotating. It's going to keep drawing it over to the east. Looks like it's even doubling back over, so it's going to be there for a minute. It's going to be pulling this around and swirling this around, and then same time pushing waves of it back down across the Midwest United States, all the way to the Southwest if you really look into the afternoon. Oh, wow, the fires down in, check out the fires down in Arizona blowing up all of a sudden. Look at that. Hold on, let's get a real close view on Arizona there. Right before sunset. Look at that. Yeah, that's a fair amount of smoke. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 sets of fires. My God. Hold on. Look at the weather modification they're doing there. Oh, God. Do you guys see this? Do I have the display capture turned on still? My God. We're doing a little cloud seeding, Dodge, a little man-made clouds that's going to cover the solar radiation management, reflect the sun. Look at that. Into the whole damn thing? Are you serious? Hold on. Can't even see it coming. Dear God. Let's go out to the west. Sorry, I get a little sarcastic when I start seeing major weather modification done that's not going to help. Okay. And nothing to see here either with the California getting record rain. No biggie. You guys got an earthquake plan? Do you know what to do when an earthquake strikes? You're supposed to take shelter underneath a table or desk. I would suggest that you have an emergency kit. I would suggest that in that emergency kit, you have change of clothes, set of shoes, flashlight, batteries, and all the BS that you need to survive for a few days. I would also suggest that you have food and water for a long period of time. Not that you're going to be able to carry it if you have to leave either. You have to leave a lot of it. You need that stuff. What else? Don't be scared. You need to be prepared. Be prepared for sudden evacuation from a fire. Well, let me put it this way. Big fire breaks out. I live out here in the woods. Big fire breaks out. I only have a couple minutes to grab my stuff at the most. Dude, I'm screwed. I guess I'll be grabbing my seeds, The wife will be grabbing some family albums or something, I guess. And, of course, we'll be getting our cats. Try to get the cats and some cat food and maybe my emergency kit. Throw it in the car and hit the road. I mean, you got to have a plan for this crap. I don't have a plan for fires. I don't. I really don't. So if I had to evacuate and get the hell out of here, I'm screwed, dude. Got my rock collection all up in here and everything. 5 briefcases of valuable seeds from around the world. Yeah, I'm going to be able to fit that all in my car in 2 minutes. Yeah, right. Listen to me. I sound like a whiny old man. I am 47, so I got half of that met. Whiny, I don't know. That's just, I'm stating the obvious. Thank God I'm recording. I'm glad I got this all recorded. How did it sound? Did everything sound okay? Did we pop, skip, scratch, jump? I've got this microphone. I got to go back and listen. God, it would suck if it was scratchy the whole time, innit? Whatever. Enough complaining, old man. You guys be safe. I'll be back, hopefully, with another update. And we'll get a forecast out the next couple days. Not going to beat myself up too hard for missing on 3 locations when I got 3 right. Of the biggest earthquakes in months. So, yeah. It's not like we're just talking small quakes. We're talking 8.0 level hit a week ago. And then we went from that to nothing. Again, my antenna is up. With the fires going on and earthquakes just going kaput all of a sudden, something's wrong. Something's weird. Something very strange is going on. Peace out.